All right, welcome everyone with Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Kaiji, Season 1, Episode 13. An actual death game now.
An actual death game.
Not just broken legs. You will plummet to your messy death.
22 stories.
Mm-hmm.
That is thankfully a no pain on impact kind of death, though.
Yeah. But there will be some suits who will be working very hard with some cleaning equipment, I'm guessing, to, make it be so that there was no trace of this ever having happened.
Right. I think that we're dealing right now with that stage of where the ultra rich are now just showing how evil they are with regards to the fact that there might be no entertainment value that they get out of this.
Or it's all personal entertainment value.
Or it's all personal entertainment value, exactly, because Kaiji did piss off, or at the very least intrigue, one of
caught
them.
The attention.
And that is a very sus thing, something we'll have to think about here.
That is a wild card that the story can do a lot of things with.
Yeah, and also just the idea that Kaiji specifically chose the pacifist route in the previous section of the game here.
But now he might be leading some lemmings.
He might be now responsible for a half dozen other people's deaths if he is one of the few that make it across.
Yeah.
Because, well, you didn't have to play here.
Nope, you really didn't.
Yeah, and I like that they did not force them to play, because that would have resulted in mutiny, and they would have grabbed the organizer,
even though they
to yeet him off the...
Did also kind of force them, because they're like, hey, you're going to risk your life for money, but it's going to be great because you're going to get money. Psych, you're not actually getting money. Haha, but this time for real, you're totally going to get it.
Right. I'm actually kind of amazed that they put both groups in the same group. Because then it's that's a lot more people if they decided to just revolt. Whereas if it's like, the 4 people from this group, the 5 people from this group. Right, exactly.
Yeah. Maybe no, because there's not even any issue of order, because it's all just whatever tickets you have. Yeah. Like
it's a little bit of storytelling conventions at that point.
Just,
we need to move this along, which I hope they do. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Monster. Oh, Johan?
Someone have a bottle of whiskey for them?
I love how similar everybody looks in.
They're actually twin brothers. This is some power tripping.
Yeah. This is this is actually potentially really important. Ooh, cool. Yeah. What's going on here? Yeah, I knew it. I knew they had to be.
All right, so there is a way that they can actually make money off of this.
Of course, you'd see that way, yeah.
Okay. Can't show their faces, kind of a deal. And that's also why they need it to be a death game. It needs to be real freaky shit. Otherwise, they can't get the rocks off.
Or they just won't gamble as much. Wow. Oh, this guy's scary, yeah.
When he sits in his little throne.
Okay. Yeah, he personally gets a lot of pleasure of this. Wow.
Some of the world's trash will soon become stars.
Oh, that's smart. Keeping it in the middle.
Nice.
Because your senses are going to be disoriented.
Right.
You're going to feel...
Give something to focus on.
Yeah. The problem is that...
Kaiji drew it slightly wrong.
Well, no. The thing is that you actually don't want to look down when you're balancing on something. You want to look at something straight ahead. it actually is something that it does help you balance better. It's like scientific. It's a weird aspect of, I think, the human brain.
What center of gravity? Maybe limber up before you start.
Okay, Thors, yeah. You have no enemies. I love this, yeah. Yeah, we're seeing Kaiji the leader here, yeah.
Wait, but a lot of us fell and caught ourselves on the thing. Don't think about that.
God, with the music and everything, this is perfect. Yeah. I mean, Kaiji's is courage. Somewhat.
Yeah. As long as it gets them across, who cares if it's courage or stupidity?
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, okay, yeah.
Are we gonna get into, like, the fake versus the real thing debate?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, it went the opposite direction.
Damn. He's stalling, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe he's actually wanting to jazz them up so that way he can see people succeed before he goes himself.
Right.
Right, it's not courage if you're not scared.
Ah, the monster, yeah.
Sir, why did you start touching yourself? Don't mind me. In a lot of ways, I could see them wanting to just go one at a time, so that way they don't get psyched out by the screams of someone falling.
Mm-hmm. But you'll have the other person to the left or right of you, you know, as well, going with you.
Yeah. And he freezes before even stepping onto the thing. Okay.
He's doing it.
I mean, if it is the regular, like, width the whole way across, that definitely would help.
God, I'll tell you, the feeling you get in your feet when you realize how high you are above.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and
I'm already feeling it right now.
Well, and better hope there's not a sudden gust of wind. They're high up, so.
God, I'm still feeling it in my feet right now.
Like, you could even still have a situation where, like, you wouldn't want to go when someone else is on there, because if someone just panics, regardless of whether it's like there's only so many people can make it across, if you're stuck on there and you start to panic too, then it could still be something of, no, I'm pushing you because I'm not staying here.
Yeah.
And it'll probably end the first time someone falls.
Yeah. And then people will stop, and then the time limit will become a thing.
They'll realize what they're doing, and just like the OP. This looks way longer than the other one.
Yeah, it's to make us feel how terrified.
Sure. Well, but like, if it's also between skyscrapers, you know, that's a lot more than just like on the roof of, one.
They said it was like 70 something meters, so it's about 230 feet, 235 feet or so. So that's not a football field, but it's, 2/3 and change. In some ways, the fact that it's so dark down there actually helps. The light creates a buffering fog effect.
You can't see the bottom, so you don't have to.
So you don't actually begin to. Your mind doesn't really.
Right. It's just you see this thing in front of you that you're walking on.
Yeah, you see a void basically. Yeah. Like, that actually makes it probably a lot.
Yeah, it probably depends on the person, because I can see that being worse for some people, but for a lot of them, I can see that helping.
Fuck, okay. Who's gonna stop first, you know? Oh, his visualization, though. Cool.
There is something very fascinating about how self-aggrandizing his, like, pontificating is.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're just high on your kink, bruh.
No, but it's true. He's spitting absolute facts, though.
Yeah. Oh, a bit of sweat just fell on it. Oh shit. Well.
Gah.
Okay.
That is a cool way to
that would
have it spark.
Yeah.
And just snap him into that. I can't believe he's going with his coat still unbuttoned, you know?
Yeah.
Oh no, he doesn't have the coat. Oh no, he does. Yeah.
Just rolled up the sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
That coat is Kaiji's lucky coat.
Yeah. Zawa.
Yep, and it turns to panic.
I mean, this is like my worst nightmare.
Oh,
like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, Nice. Yeah. The hallucinations. Oh my god. Oh, that's cool. That's literally. Oh my god. Whoa. That's literally my nightmare right there. That's how it gets visualized. Is that I become basically like a wispy wave of something as I'm. Oh my god. He's alone. No one's ahead of him or in front of him.
Yep.
Behind him. Yeah.
Alright, yep, there we go. Oh wait, them being cold is the problem?
I think it's more their, like,
the fear of it
as well. Like,
they imagined it.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Yep. And this is where the question of pushing comes in. Because he's gonna freak them out and...
he tries to hold
fuck.
on, yeah. Yeah.
That is also a great point.
Right. That aspect, as someone begins to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Oh, this would break me. Just thinking about seeing someone absolutely losing their shit over their fear of death, like, in real time. Yeah.
Fuck.
Damn.
Maybe if enough people touch it, it'll be less electrified for everyone else.
Oh my god.
Oh god, what do you do if someone in the middle of someone else? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even turning around.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that.
Yeah, and Sahara can't move forward even though there's no one in front of him.
Oh my god, no, no, no. No, 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 no.
Oh god,
no,
and
no.
Kaiji's in the direct middle of his line.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. That is why I would not go across until, like, if there was someone in front of me.
Okay. Well, that's how you can definitely slow the pacing down a bit.
Yep.
Let's focus on the fear
you
of
literally
death.
slow the pace.
I mean, no, literally, yeah. But the idea that we solved one of our problems with this arc. There are people watching and betting on it, so they obviously have an entertainment value aspect to this.
Sure.
Of course. The other thing is that the consequences of it are absolutely an emotional one, because obviously Kaiji's going to make it across, but the madness, I didn't even think they would. I didn't even think about this as like a
sure,
like a
witnessing
stakes
so
thing.
many people dying.
Right. But also the experience itself being so maddening for you as a person going across
Sure.
it. That it's not about whether you even make it across, physically. It's just about
right.
what kind of fucked
Well, yeah,
up.
the journey to becoming an ultimate survivor is not a pleasant one.
Right, but this is how they're expressing it, breaking it down to the level of the way in which fear warps reality in some ways, like the anime monster, explores. So
sure,
that's really cool. Yeah. Wow. All right. Okay. So minor positive thing going on here. We have gambling happening. They are actually watching this.
Right.
That's a big deal for my personal enjoyment of this section here.
It's the guy is absolutely getting his rocks off from this.
Yes.
But it's not just that. So
it is all within the mechanics of the setup here,
right.
which means that this is not a wild card thing. Unfortunately, this is something that is planned already.
Right. And it doesn't at all solve the problem of the stakes with the money and all that stuff.
No, not at all.
At least we'd see a bit more of the logic of this is like the mob is motivated to get money, and it's not just that they don't want to pay out to the winners, but they are also like, hey, why don't we double dip?
Why don't we double dip?
And there's a particular clientele that specifically wants to see death.
Death, yeah. And I think that this is the kind of stuff here where you can get a lot more into the psychology of not just the fear regarding the people there, but also the people that specifically like this stuff. And that's something that they can explore here in a very cool way. Because I personally love the way that they described the visual representation of the fear. Obviously, the organizer guy is a absolute shithead, evil person. But while his, very like over the top nature is something that kind of
plays into the vibe of the show.
It plays in the vibe of the show. I like the fact that he focused so much on the primal aspect of the fear of death, because I think that he's absolutely 100% right in that everybody has something about the fear of death that motivates them and drives them as an individual forward in a way that I feel like he's saying, you don't shove it down like a monster basically, but you take the reality of that fear and you try to basically forget that it exists so that you can go about and just do your daily life. Because most people, especially if they live in a very, very safe environment, which he kind of also poked at the idea of safety, which he also used to describe the people across the bridge as well. I really liked that.
Oh, yeah.
He described the rich scumbags watching this as well.
Yeah, I like that as the idea that it's not just that they get off from seeing people die, but it's
from the illusion of safety.
Well, right. It's the in order to properly appreciate the prodigious position of safety that they are in,
Yes.
right? They watch people who are not in that position, in the farthest thing from it.
Right.
That way they can sort of be like, yes, but I am here in my comfy chair with my wine and cheese, and
which he described as an illusion, and I love that because it's the idea that all it would take is for some kind of financial disaster that you would endure,
sure,
and you would be right in this situation with them.
One of their guards for to have a I don't know, some beef with them, and they have a gun, and then whatever,
or they
right?
Get into conflicts with each other over their ridiculous wealth.
Yeah,
but I just love that they're setting that up as a thing for later.
Yes,
because
from a world building standpoint, I think that's definitely appreciated, and it gives, even if the stakes aren't there, it gives this more of an element of purpose from the world building perspective, even if not necessarily as much from a character perspective.
What I think also that a lot of people don't really focus on is how much the fear of death drives them as people.
Okay.
And that Kaiji experiencing that here is going to shape him into someone that would actually be labeled the ultimate survivor. Because he's literally facing death. He's literally facing the fear of death here in a way that is beautifully done because it's animation. We get to describe it in these very specific ways. Like, I have a very personal nightmare that is my recurring only nightmare thing that actually scares me, because most nightmares you just kind of, okay, it's over.
Yeah.
But like this one unsettles me. It is, I am suspended high above the air with a very dark void underneath me, and I am standing on the pin of like a needle,
Needle
but it's
or a
not
spike, or,
right. But it's not sharp in any way. It's just a very thin point, and I am standing on it, with like the sole of my foot, and I am trying to balance, and I end up every once in a while caught up in this euphoric kind of dance where I just kind of float, and it's wonderful. But then every once in a while, my whole existence electrifies to the point, and my feet feel that whole thing where when you're watching someone climb like a really high thing, you kind of go, ugh! You feel like pins and needles. But specifically, I then start to feel gravity, and my body distorts like that in how Kaiji's experiencing that literal way. And it's the most unnerving thing that I felt it vicariously through Kaiji. And I feel like this is almost like exposure therapy for me, because it always happens in my subconscious, but my conscious mind can only rationalize it by talking about these images here. But seeing this here, it doesn't scare me as much anymore. Like just the thought of it doesn't even scare me as much. Just looking at this. So I'm actually kind of impressed that the show described the fear of falling, the fear of death, but in this way that made me go, oh my God, I felt it exactly that way. So minor little thing.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts then, because I had a very different experience.
Yeah.
One, because I didn't have that same dream, right? So not as much of a personal connection, but it also felt like it was essentially more of the same.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
Like the visuals that they do to showcase how primal fear is, great. But at the same time, that's nothing that would have been different than what we had back then. It's just that there was a lot more
back then, meaning which
in the when they just did the walk across a high thing. Whether it's so break your body where there's a risk of dying versus an absolute possibility of death.
I think
it's something where it just felt like there was a lot more flowery language given to it.
There definitely was, yeah.
Like it felt more like it was like it wasn't even so much the focus of, I mean, yes, the fear itself, but more about how much the Tonegawa guy or whatever his name is, how much he enjoyed it, right?
Well, I think you're focused a little bit on that part more because it didn't reach you as much, and that's okay. But I think that the way they focused on these parts, the parts that didn't have anything to do with him, is the idea in which, because they're in this desperate situation, and he talked about kind of the class disparity here, where because they're poor and they're in this situation where this is their lot, basically, to either risk it all or live in poverty.
Right. He had a lot to say last episode. He's not going to stop now.
Yeah. So cool for a second with that. Just the idea with the fear being focused on is something that distorts their reality and keeps them from being able to see the truth. Right. So they throw up a whole bunch of colorful language and stuff to psych themselves up, but it is all an act. It is all something that does not face them until they willingly step into the, rail above the abyss and look back at it, and thus the monster looks back at them. And then
fear is not logical, and you can't reason your way out of it. That if you can, it's not really that kind of primal fear of death and your existence being able to be taken away from you.
It changes your perception of reality. The idea that the way your perception is focused will dictate your reality. So if they were able to basically not listen to when he said that it's 22 stories below, they could hallucinate the other way and go, there's a possibility that there's a net down there, which is something we kind of joked about in the previous episode.
Or from another standpoint, they don't quite understand 22 stories because it's just a number, in the same way that they didn't really understand what 20 million yen was until he actually broke it down for them. This is what it takes for a human being in regular circumstances to earn that kind of money. This is what it means to actually be 22 stories up, right?
Right.
Just the fear of the wind is enough to make you freak the fuck out,
right? And I love the idea of the hallucinogenic aspect of it, because when you're in a like a feverish state, for instance, you will start to hallucinate.
It absolutely fucks with your head.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of states that your body can enter where the stress hits such a point where your vision narrows, for instance.
Sure.
Like you'll literally start to feel yourself blacking out because it's your body basically saying, we are shutting down all unnecessary processes, unnecessary, in order to survive.
Right.
And because of that, being something that is so hyper specific in this point of fear, they've never really experienced this. They've never actually experienced
that. And that's the issue that I have with it, is that I feel they have.
I don't think so.
With the previous thing, they were like 40 feet up or something, right? That's if you do everything right, you can survive this, but you will be, permanently, changed as a result of this. And if you don't do things right, you will absolutely die, right?
The previous game?
Yeah.
They were, that was the whole point. They said, no, you won't die. They specifically made a point of how you won't die.
If you make sure to land on your feet and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, but it made it so that there was a chance that they survived, because they were watching and they'd seen that people were screaming on the ground in pain.
Chance of survival, but the thing is that with the way that the story set it up, with the way that things ended up progressing in the story, because it has a very particular way that it wants things to go. Yes, no one actually died there, right? But me as a viewer looking at it, I'm like, I would kind of expect some people to die, because there is that risk, right? It's similar to the whole thing of nobody actually falls off because of just losing their balance in this situation. The guy ends up leaning down and touching the thing, and then he falls off, right? When the fear hits them, even though we have all of these evocative ways to showcase how it affects them physically, mechanically, with regards to the progress in the puzzle, it doesn't actually really affect them, right? Like, it makes them stop, it drags things out or whatever, right? But until the guy actually puts his hands on the thing, which granted is caused by the fear, they're totally safe, right? Like, there is no...
for now.
Right.
For now.
And so the thing that because this episode didn't get into any of the things of like, oh, when someone freaks out, then suddenly your life might be in danger, and then maybe you do actually ask the question of, do I push this person completely, even though it's not about the money or whatever.
That hasn't been broached yet. We're going at such a slow pace that we had someone try to run back before that, which makes way more sense. And they did try, and they fell, and they died.
No, right, but it's but even then, it's something that is based around the fear of the thing rather than the potential.
I feel like
emergent behaviors that could come about as a result of the simplicity of this situation.
I feel like you're being pedantic here. I feel like that's a very slight difference, and I feel like the difference is one that
Let me finish what I was getting at then.
Okay.
If you're making it so that it's just about the element of it being fear and nothing else, which, hey, that's a choice that you can do and all that stuff, great. Then you really need to sell the fear element to me.
Right.
And I feel like...
And it just didn't sell to you, and that's okay, but it was sold to me. I'm saying that that's something that can reach specific people differently because people have different ways in which they approach fear.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that's something where you're going to have to look at the situation as, well, I'm not in this situation, so obviously I don't feel fear, but they do. They do feel fear, regardless of whether it's being sold as well. Because I agree that there's ways in which you can sell fear better than others. You were focused more on what Tonegawa, or I believe the other guy was saying there rather than what they were experiencing. And that's totally fine. I'm just saying that you can't say objectively that they sold the fear poorly. It's just that it didn't reach you in that way. And that's something that I was trying to focus on to bring up rather quickly, and that I absolutely see that the stakes issue that was brought up in the previous episode has not been addressed at all. But the focus on where the conflict lies, for me, is about the idea of fear altering and changing the way a person perceives things. And you don't just walk away after you've experienced this. Because it will change the way you view life and death. A lot of people have talked about when they experience a life or death situation, like where they nearly die, and they kind of are like, oh, I have a second chance at life. They completely change their life. They completely alter the way that they do things.
The clarity that Kaiji had, where he's like, what am I talking about? I would happily be in debt till I'm 40 and just need to work it out. Why the fuck am I doing this?
What am I doing here? Exactly. His whole brain chemistry is almost being altered in this moment here.
Absolutely.
And thus the stakes are not about whether we then have Kaiji be one that gets across, because he obviously will, but it's of the people that do get across, how will they change? Because we don't know or care really too much about others than the other two, and even then we don't care about them that much. So
they're familiar faces.
But they could end up being recurring characters that then go alongside Kaiji.
And to the show's to advocate for the show, right? The thing that I mentioned of, okay, but why wouldn't this have just been something that would have been brought up in the previous, traverse the rail kind of a deal, right? To the level of detail and visceral, like the primal aspects of it here. Well, maybe it was, and it was just something that the other people saw, and that's why they didn't decide to do this, right? That is a bit of like, assume that there was something that wasn't actually shown by the show. But hey, if you could say that fundamentally you could absolutely have this be re-explored, because these are all the people that still decided to do it. So clearly they did not have this level of an experience back then.
Right? Yeah. That's one of the things that I feel like is why they did the part in the beginning, is that it gives people the belief that they could even attempt this. And that's why they took them across, and rather than, just only the winners. Like, if they just took the winners, there'd be less entertainment.
Well, right. You can't actually force people to do anything, really. You can coerce them and give them very, strong suggestions, but you can't actually...
No, you couldn't force them, but I think that's the point, is that if there were enough people that were brought over here, at least one of them would try. And regardless of whether it was Kaiji being very leader-like and charismatic...
Or some other person or whatever.
Some other person... The FOMO, the idea that, if they believe they can do it, well, then I could probably do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And thus then...
And then the lemming situation, right? Yeah.
The lemming situation, but also the fake courage part is almost like... It's almost the way he was laughing at it, the guy. Almost like I've seen this a dozen times.
Right. Never gets old.
It never gets old. And it's and I'd say about 5 meters or 10 meters out, they'll all realize the fear of death battle that they're about to go through, and then the actual game commences. I love that that's something that they're focusing on here, rather than the direct mechanics as to how they balance and go across, because the stakes are not set up in a way to make me care about that.
Right.
This is a newly introduced thing that they only minorly, like you're saying, minorly touched upon in the first crossing beam. But because there was, from my opinion, because there wasn't enough actual likelihood of them dying from the way they perceived it, they didn't actually experience any true fear. They more feared the idea of being put into a situation where someone else would push them.
You're right. And because
and
because fear isn't logical, right? The fact that it could be, regardless of what the actual difference was of likelihood of death or whatever to now, right? that doesn't really matter because it's all about what's perceived by the individual.
Yeah.
And then for the sake of probably simplicity of getting at what the creator wants to get at, it's homogenized across all of the people participating so that, all of the people experience the fear of death specifically here and not necessarily back there.
Yeah,
things like that.
Except for Kaiji. Kaiji is the one person that the creator kind of focuses on. Kaiji's whole fear thing was not about whether he was going to fall. It was about the fact that he was scared that he would have to push somebody. And that was a wholly unique thing to that section.
Sure.
The idea that, then I'm going to get pushed. Fuck it.
Right.
I can't stand the thought of being someone that kills someone there. That I would put them into that situation. Now again, yeah, there's always a chance that he could be killing somebody. That was also a thing where it felt like it was I'm also a little bit of the main character, so I can't do anything bad. But I could see that whole moral dilemma be revisited halfway across the beam when someone freezes up and doesn't move,
Uh-huh.
And that's
and that could always be something that's gotten at in the next episode.
Yep.
I was there was that part of me that was hoping that when the guy's like, no, I'm gonna go back, I'm like, oh yeah, what do you do when someone's behind you, right? But decides to turn around quickly on a narrow beam like that, and actually did the turning around thing fine, but then it was moving a bit too fast and fell. But yeah.
But all right, we're going at this a little bit slower than we would have liked, but if we can focus on the fear angle a bit, I'll be a lot happier with this arc.
I want to see more character stuff from all the people that are watching this, because I want to get to feel like I know them as individuals, right?
I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, we need to have.
I would love to get there.
Yeah, I feel like this is the setup for that happening eventually down the road. But
sure.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. And also be sure to check out my Persona 5 Royal Let's Play on Twitch. And yeah, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.